I've recently spoken with some of my sources around that Alabama football team, and they've told me who the starter is going to be. I don't really know how to ease into this. We're just going to get straight into it. I have been told that the starter for Alabama against MTSU in Week 1 is going to be Man, oh man, do I have some information for you guys in today's video. Arguably one of, if not the, and it probably is, the biggest conversation that was going on all throughout the offseason is who's going to replace Bryce Young at quarterback for Alabama. It's $1 million question because we all saw what happened last year. Alabama's backup quarterback, Jalen Milroe, when he got some time in action, he didn't look that good. But even with that being said, most people wasn't worried heading into the spring game because they just figured that Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe, they would eventually separate themselves, or one of them would separate themselves. And yeah, if you watched the spring game, and I'm sure some of you saw my reaction to it, that did not happen. It was bad, to say the least. Both of them only completed roughly about 50% of their passes in the spring game. And it was so bad, as a matter of fact, within the next week, Nick Saban got another quarterback out of the transfer portal. And most of you should know who this is. This is the transfer from Notre Dame, Tyler Buchner. So currently, as to where it stands for the past 4 or 5 months, Alabama has had not one, not two, but 3 quarterbacks battling it out. And also in the recent 4 to 5 months, none of them have separated themselves. But and I have a really big but, we have a new update. I've recently spoken with some of my sources around that Alabama football team, and they've told me who the starter is going to be. Now let me make this clear before we go any farther. I am the messenger. I am relaying this information. You don't gotta believe it. At the end of the day, you can do what you want with this information. But if you've been watching the channel for a while, you would know most of my sources are right 99% of the time. I'll put it this way before we go any farther if you want some credibility to all of this. These are the same sources that told me 4 days before a Tennessee game that Bryce Young was going to play. And you can go find it for yourself. I made a video like 3 or 4 days before a Tennessee game where I told you guys Bryce Young will start. And well, we all know how that turned out. Bryce started, so sources were right. This is the one and only topic we're going to talk about in today's video. I think it's that important. And by the way, we ain't doing no intro, none of that. We ain't got time for that, baby. We're jumping straight into it. If you like college football content, it's relatively simple. Consider joining our amazing college football community. All right, man, blah, blah, shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get it. Okay, first things first, let me give you some clarification as to who my quote-unquote sources are. Most of y'all know I reside in Northern Alabama. By the way, shout out to the 256. So yes, I do have quite a bit of sources around the Tuscaloosa area. All around the Southeast in general, I have a lot of good sources, but my best sources and most reliable ones, obviously, they're in Alabama, because I know a lot of them personally. And obviously, I can't tell you their names because they want to remain anonymous, and that's why I'm calling them sources. But I can tell you this much. The couple of guys that have fed me this information, they're at the Alabama practices every single day. These are people that are on the field and they hear things and they know what's going on. And yet again, I'm going to throw this disclaimer in there. They could be wrong, but I trust them and they haven't lied to me before. I don't even know if my sources around that Alabama football team have ever told me something that wound up being wrong. But they could be wrong, so just keep that in the back of your mind. I don't really know how to ease into this. We're just going to get straight into it. I have been told that the starter for Alabama against MTSU in Week 1 is going to be Jalen Milroe. And I've also been told that QB2 will be Ty Simpson and QB3 will be Tyler Buchner. And I was talking to a couple different guys, and one of them even told me that Jalen Milroe, he's going to start against Texas too. He stated, quote unquote, unless something diabolically bad happens against MTSU, he'll be starting against Texas. So there you have it. I'm going to say it again. Word around the block and street is Jalen Milroe is the starting quarterback for Alabama. QB2, as to where it stands, is Ty Simpson, and QB3 is Tyler Buchner. I also heard at one of the scrimmages or practices, depending on what you want to label and call it, that Tyler Buchner threw a pick 6. I don't really think it's a big deal, but apparently Tyler Buchner hasn't looked as smooth as Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe. I'm kind of disappointed in hearing that news because I had high expectations for Tyler Buchner, but it is what it is. Maybe I expected too much considering he just got to campus a few months ago. And it does make sense that Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe are looking better and they're looking more, I guess you'd say, smoother than Tyler Buchner because both Ty Simpson and Milroe, they've been at the program for a couple of years now. They should look better than Tyler Buchner. That's just the simple stuff. But getting back on track here, that's all there is to it. Apparently and allegedly, Jalen Milroe is starting. Now, with that being said, I need to address this quarterback situation. I need to address this new starter and how I feel about him. If you were watching the channel last year, you would know that I gave Jalen Milroe a hard time. But let me clarify this, and this goes for any of my college football takes. Just because I sit up here and say, hey, Jalen Milroe, he played awful or he played bad against Texas A&M, That doesn't mean I dislike him as a person, and that doesn't mean I want to see him fail. No, I want to see him succeed. But at the end of the day, I got to call it how I see it. I don't care if he's playing quarterback for my personal favorite team. If he plays like crap, I can't sit up here and say, oh yeah, you know, he played okay, he's going to get better. No. If you play like crap, I'm going to come up here and say you play like crap. I'd be doing a disservice to all of you if I came up here and stated, oh yeah, he played pretty good when he didn't. I'm holding Jalen Milroe to a high standard, and I think he'd appreciate that. I hold my friends in real life to a high standard. I hold myself to a high standard. Everything I do, it's at a high standard. So yes, although Jalen Milroe, I wouldn't say he played terribly bad. He was average. That's not the standard at Alabama. The standard is great or elite. I'm not your mom, I'm not your dad, I'm not your grandparents. After you play a bad game, I'm not going to pat you on the back and say, oh, it's okay, you played a good game. No. You play like crap, I'm saying it. You play like crap, I'm going to tell you, hey man, you play like crap. That's the type of person I am. You know why I do that? Because I tell myself the same exact thing. I hold myself to a high standard every single day. If I'm not the best version of Matt B. Great out there, no. I tell myself in the mirror, man, you had a bad day today. You need to pick your act up tomorrow and get back to dominating. So therefore, if you're looking for somebody that's going to pat you on the back, you got the wrong guy. Sorry, I apologize. I know I went on a little mini rant there, but getting back on track here at Jalen Milroe, I want to see him succeed. It doesn't matter who the starting quarterback for Alabama is. I am rooting for them. It doesn't matter if it's Buckner, Simpson, Milroe, or Lonergan, the 4th-string quarterback. I want to see them all do good. But however, like I've said over and over, we have a standard. We have the gold standard, and if you're not living up to that, yeah, I'm going to critique you. I'm not ESPN. I don't work for a college football media company. If you play like crap, I can sit up here and say, hey, you play like crap. They can't do that, but your boy Matt, I can tell you the real truth. And guess what? Jalen Milroe, he didn't play to the standard last year, and I think he would appreciate me being honest. But with all that bad stuff being said, I have some great news. And that great news is this right here. It's a new season. It's a clean slate. Yeah, he didn't look good last year, but who cares? It's over. It's in the past. It's time to move forward. He's had a full offseason of preparation, a whole offseason to get better. I think he's going to do better. I think he's going to play better. Now, the interesting part with Jalen Milroe is, and I said this last year, he was a bull in a china shop. The only thing that made Jalen Milroe so hard to watch last year is he almost single-handedly lost us a game against A&M that A&M had no business even being in. And even in the spring game, same thing. Couple interceptions, and he had a couple others that should have been intercepted. We don't need Jalen Milroe to go out there and throw for 600 yards and 7 touchdowns. We don't need that. I'm leaning towards this. Jalen Milroe, just go out there, go 14 for 22, 23, 1 touchdown, 0 INTs, protect the ball, hand the ball off, and let our defense work. Mark this down. Even without Will Anderson Jr., our defense will be better this year. Last year, it was awful. Don't know what happened. It was embarrassing. But this year, I think we're going to get that swagger and we're going to get that moxie back. And I also think what hurt our defense last year was they thought since we had Bryce Young, they could kind of lighten up a little bit and we were going to score 50 points a game, in which we did. And that can hurt you because if you know you got a great quarterback and great offense, you kind of let up a little bit. But this year, since we have a lesser quarterback and we have a lot of not rookies, but new running backs and new wide receivers, I think our defense, they're going to have that chip on the shoulder and they're going to be like, hey, man, we got to carry this team. I can go on and on, but here's the last thing I'm going to say. Jalen Milroe, this is your last shot. If you don't look good against MTSU and Texas, you're done. I'm writing you off. You've been at the program now for this is your 3rd year. You didn't look good last year. You had a full offseason preparation. If you're not ready to go by the Texas game, you're just not ready to be the Alabama quarterback. And I hate to say that. I know it comes off harsh, but it's reality. It's the truth. I'm wishing you the best of luck, Jalen Milroe. You got my support 110%. Now, as far as it goes for Ty Simpson, because I know some of you are going to be like, well, Matt, does that mean Ty Simpson's not going to have a shot to win the job? And no, not necessarily. From what I've been told in that MTSU game, that's going to be like another tryout. Jalen Milroe, he'll start the game, and then Ty Simpson, he'll come in later, and then Tyler Buckner, he'll get some garbage time. But even still at that, MTSU, they shouldn't even be competing with Alabama. It's so small of a sample size, you really can't tell who's the better quarterback in that game, and that's why my sources have also told me that Jalen Milroe will start against Texas, unless something bad happens before that game. You could see this happen, the same thing with Jacob Coker. You could see Jalen Milroe start the Texas game, he's not looking good, maybe he has a costly turnover, and then you insert Ty Simpson and he takes over the team like Jacob Coker did in 2015, and the rest is history. So who knows? And like I've stated before leading up to this video, it doesn't really matter who starts. It matters who performs better. Because just because you start Jalen Milroe week 1, it doesn't mean you got to lock him in as a starter the rest of the season. No, you can change it up. And I like to look at it from this perspective. And I've seen some people say the, old rumor of, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't even have 1 quarterback. And I get that, but I like to look at it like this. I think we got 3 quarterbacks that are more than capable of winning games. I like to look at it like this. We got 3 solid guys, right? At least one of them's got to be good and he'll fit in the system, right? That's my view on it. And honestly, you could put me back there and we're winning 9 games. Hand the ball off, get the ball to the playmakers. Being the quarterback at Alabama, it is hard, don't get me wrong, but just don't overcomplicate it. Do the simple stuff. That's why I like Mac Jones so much. He's an underrated quarterback at Alabama. He didn't do anything crazy. He did his job, and that's why he's one of the best quarterbacks in Alabama history. I could talk about Alabama and this quarterback situation for 45 minutes, trust me, but I've already rambled enough. Let me know your thoughts down below. But,